I'm not throwing away my.
What's up, YA Family Online? We are super excited that you took the time to join us tonight. It's your girl, Tabrina J, and I know tonight looks a lot different than probably what you're used to, but we are taking a time to sit and have a conversation. That's what this is called. It's called our town hall meeting. So we have Pastor Jakeem, we have Braylin, our new ministry lead of YA. Hey. We are going to have a wonderful conversation, and they're going to share the heart and the ministry and the vision of what our YA community looks like right now and what we're going to look like in the future. I want you guys to know that, tonight, like I said, is going to look a little different. We are streaming live right now through YouTube. For some of you, you might be watching us through a watch party from Zoom. Hello, welcome, hi friends. We hope we wish we could see you guys, but you can see us, right? Right. But regardless, this is the key thing we want you to remember though, like, even though we can't see you, we can still hear you because you have the opportunity to send your questions to us. Yes. And we would love to hear kind of your thoughts. If you guys have questions about what this is about or just kind of what does our ministry look like from here and some of the things that they're going to share tonight. Yeah. You can ask questions in regards to those. So please send those because you are a part of our community, once again, and we want to hear from you. You can send those questions right now on YouTube. There should be a number in the comment section. It should be pinned right there. Text that number, and before the night ends, we are going to try our best to get through those questions for you all. And Pastor Jakeem and Braylin, they're going to answer them the best they can.
Yeah. I feel like that's like debate. We're like on two sides.
We want to hear from you.
We want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm really excited,
Yeah, well, I mean, do you guys have anything to say in regards to just like how you feel about tonight? I know we said it's a little different, just kind of gauging how you feel.
Yeah. But I think it's like all this is the time for it, like different, right? Like if we're gonna do something different and unique, I think this is the time for it, and I'm actually excited to conversate, not just with my friends here, but with you guys on like
converse. Is the word.
Conversate not the word?
Nope, not the word. That is okay.
So this is what this is gonna look like tonight.
I feel like I'm the mediator.
So it is a debate. It is a debate. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be great.
I'm excited for tonight because one, I think it's always important to take time to share our heart and share vision of what now and what the future looks like, and especially in this season, I think it's super important for us. But I also think it's important for even though Braylin's been serving in our ministry for years now, her jumping on staff and getting a chance, she's speaking. She was already close, but even speaking closer into helping shape the culture and the future. So I think moments like this and conversations like this are good. So I can't wait to hear some of the questions, and I hope they ask you some tough ones.
Okay.
Like,
well,
yeah.
What is the first thing you're going to change?
Somebody find out if conversate is the correct word or not. I'm going to stay on that all night.
But we do have some great conversations already coming through, so we will definitely get to those. But for right now, as Keem already said, like for some of you, this might be your first time watching us. This is probably a new space for you, and you're new to our community, so you probably don't know who these individuals are. So before we dig into what our community is about or how we are shaped, let's just take a couple of minutes and just have some fun and get to know each other. Once again, like I said, because for some of you, you probably just joined, this is your first time joining us through this time of social distancing. We just had some new seniors enter into our community. And then for some majority of you, you're probably already a part of our family. And there's maybe some things you just didn't know about these two individuals personally. So we're gonna have some fun with that, all right? So I'm
nervous.
I have some fun questions.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready for this?
Okay.
Once again, let me just reiterate. If you have questions, send them to that number on YouTube right now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. All right. So let's get to know Braylin and Jakeem a little bit more. First, before we dig into that, just catch us up real quick. Where are you guys at? Just in this year, things are changing and shifting. Fill us in. How you guys feel, and what are you guys involved with right now?
What is life right now?
What is life right now? Does anybody know at this point in our COVID journey.
You wanna
Yeah.
you wanna go first?
Yeah,
Or
I'll
me
go
go
first.
All right, you go first.
So hey, I'm Braylon, if you don't know me. But for me, like jumping on staff is probably like the newest thing for me, which is super exciting. It's been like in my heart. This community has been in my heart for the last like almost 5 years now, and so that's like really new and exciting for me, and it's like boosted like my energy. Like I love getting to do things that I love, and then I'm also serving as a worship leader here, also on staff doing that kind of stuff, and so it's really, really cool. I get to do all the things I love. This is like with some of the people I love, you know, it depends on the day, you know.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
no, but yeah, I just graduated. I mean, that's really it. These are the new things, and I'm just excited to be here with y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. And for me, catching up, I've shared probably, but you know, it has been 5 months, and I think you kind of hit it, Sabrina. There are new people, so some things that are happening in my life. If you didn't know, I'm engaged. Got engaged back in February, and tomorrow will be
we love you.
finally the year mark. Oh, hi babe, love you.
We have to know that.
Yeah.
Tomorrow actually be the year mark, so that's kind of cool.
Dang.
So what happened is unlike, you know, I feel like most Christian engagements be like super quick. It's like we want to get married fast. I didn't get the privilege of doing that because my lady is finishing up a class. So once we got a lot of planning done because of COVID, social distancing, just time on our hands, stuff, we got a lot done. I said, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to bring it up. Don't talk about the wedding until we get to a year out. So
Yeah.
she's like waiting for tomorrow to happen because she gets to talk about the wedding again. So
That's so exciting.
some other things that are happening. She mentioned it, but Braylon's on staff with us, and we've been, you know, planning and thinking, and you know, sometimes we'll just sit and talk, just what the future looks like, and so we're pumped for that. What's some other things right now outside of that? Just kind of sitting at home with everyone else.
Yep.
You know, I'm trying to think, is there anything new happening?
Twiddling our thumbs, trying to find
Yeah,
something
yeah.
else to do.
I am glad that they let us go out to eat now.
Yeah.
We can hang out outside.
You
so.
can roast and eat roast at the same time. It's
Yeah, that's
nice.
pretty much new for life for me.
Depends who's cooking it, but
Right,
yes.
right.
All right, well, cool. Let's now let's have some fun. All right.
All right.
If you guys could live in a sitcom,
Oh gosh.
all right, start thinking of sitcoms. You know, you could throw it back, 80s, 90s, well, 90s,
Okay.
you know, whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
2000s, anything
We're
like
like
that.
90s kids.
If you could live in any sitcom, which one would it be? And then I need you, since you guys have vocal talent, you know,
Oh gosh.
Wow.
as
a
I guess
good
I side swipe or side eye Keem a little bit. Sing a
been
little
working on his
bit.
vocals.
Sing a little bit of the theme
song?
of that sitcom.
Got you. So I guess I'll go first.
Do you even know how it goes?
So, so what's funny for me is the sitcom that I'd want to live in that I would choose would probably be The Office, and they don't really have any. They don't have lyrics, but
But-
Michael Scott does do a like welcome video when he goes straight out of Scranton. Him and Dwight. So.
Is that it right there?
Yeah, that's about it. But it doesn't have, like, that. So if I had a sitcom, I got it easy. I don't have to sing it. It's just a beat.
Yeah, I
That probably
don't know.
saves your guys' ears at home. So.
Says all of our ears, everywhere.
Wow, crazy.
What about you?
I don't know.
Bray?
Okay, so like my initial thought is Friends, right? Like I love Friends. I am here for Friends all the time, and I laugh like I've never seen it. Like I watch Friends like it's the first time every time, and I laugh like it's new. I don't know if I want to like live in Friends though. I do love New York.
Great setting. Great
Trying to think, what's that?
I said great setting, great people.
Great setting, great people. You know, Central Perk. So yeah, I guess I'd say Friends. I would live in Friends. I'd be
Okay.
like the third apartment, awkwardly away. You know, I think it could.
Now
be
we
like,
need you to sing the theme song for it.
That's just too much, you know. I'm just like, no one told me life was
As you
gonna
breaks
be
into it.
this way. You know,
I
without the
can't.
clap, what is Friends? Thank you
I
for.
love it.
thank
That
you.
was great.
It's forever on YouTube. I'm really excited about that.
All right, let's go to this next question. If you could wear one T-shirt for the rest of the year,
Oh gosh, okay.
what word would be on that shirt for the whole year?
What
One
word
T-shirt.
would be on my T-shirt?
One T-shirt
But
for
like,
a whole year,
is it
and it's one word.
representative of me, how I'm feeling, what I want people to know? There's so many.
If
so
it's
many.
the same shirt, I'm probably gonna be like, stay away. It probably doesn't smell that great. but I don't know if stay away is 2 words. So
I think it's 2.
I gotta
Away.
just away.
Just away.
I was gonna say 6 feet. You know, or if you
Social
do like
Oh,
a
distance.
social distance.
COVID.
Ah, I got you. But
But
that's
that's
also,
also
2
2
words. Dang.
This is a tough question.
That
You go
is.
first.
I
What do
don't
you think?
know. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd really have to think about it. I need to process this. This is like, I think, I don't know. Maybe like something in a different language. So it was a conversation starter, you know,
got you.
like.
I feel like Jesus is always the right answer too. I think you can do that.
Yeah.
With Jesus.
Jesus.
You can
We're
always
gonna
do
throw.
Jesus. Yeah.
We're gonna go Christianese and say Jesus.
There you
Yeah,
go, and that's
never wrong.
ministry.
Or like in Hebrew though, and then people are like, what does that mean? And they're like, oh, actually,
Ah.
it means
Yeshua. Or
Yeah.
Jesus.
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 Yeah, and it's a conversation starter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's ministry. And it's
And it's-
ministry.
we're out
And
here, see?
since you guys are ministry minded
That's
right,
right,
now,
that's right.
let me ask y'all this question
I
then.
know, I know.
If you could get rid of anything that's happening right now in the world, what would that one thing be?
COVID-19.
Oh, we're all in agreement.
And let the church say, Amen.
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
Social
We're
distancing
leaving now.
and quarantine would not be a word because we wouldn't have COVID-19. That would be what I'd get rid of in the world.
I hear you.
Okay.
You
Well,
can't choose the same thing, sis.
I know. Okay, but like, so this is also a Christianese answer, right? But because I'm not gonna lie, I saw this question before and I really thought about it because I was like, this is a good one. Sin, because if there's no sin, there's no COVID-19. So
She's just
But-
going to do a whole blanket statement,
Yeah,
a
just
blanketed
sin in
statement
general.
right now.
All the
is it too much?
things.
I majored in Bible. I'm sorry.
Got it. Ow, flex.
I know. Okay.
Oh my
We went to
God.
the same school. It's fine.
That is true.
That's facts. And sometimes I be feeling like I'm out the loop because sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, sure.
Oh, knock off them
That's
Bible
great.
jokes.
Don't act like you didn't go to Sunday school, okay?
I did.
She's a pastor, PK. I mean, come on, she's out here.
Yeah, I know a little bit what they're talking about. But
A little bit, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Well, you guys should have some balloons too, right? On the side of you or.
We do.
Okay, so this next set of questions, I want to ask
wait
you
for that.
guys. So these are the who's most likely to. Once again, when I am in the room with these two, it's always a back and forth like debate almost in a sense, and they're always it's fun. But I would love to see how they view each other during this time right now, and I'm pretty sure you guys are interested in that, right? Right.
Maybe.
Okay. So these are the who's most likely to questions. We have the pink balloon, which represents Braylon, and there should be a B on there for her.
Yep.
And then for Jakeem, we have the green balloons, and then it has a J.
All right.
So what you're gonna do, when I say the question, I think we should have you guys close your eyes. So put the balloon, oh wait, Keem, you're holding the mic. Could you still, you're good?
I think I got green in front.
Okay, okay. So when I ask the question, close your eyes and
Okay.
then lift it up who you think it is, okay?
Okay, I'm closing my eyes, right? Okay.
Okay, here we go. Who is most likely to live on a farm?
Why are you
Keem
laughing?
answered that quick.
You have to keep our eyes open.
Closed. We're
Close it and then I'll,
Eyes closed?
yeah, keep it closed until, Braylon, we're waiting for you, honey.
I know, this is really hard. I'm gonna go here.
Okay, open your eyes. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Wow, Keem.
I don't
Wait.
think either of us would live on a farm, but I think of the two of us.
But Keem answered that very quickly. He was ready.
I know. I feel like neither of us would live on a farm, but if somebody had to live on a farm,
Got
I'd be
you.
the most successful.
All right, this next one. All right, you'll put up a BRJ, green or pink. Who is most likely to appear on a reality TV show? I know my answer. Yes, open your eyes.
He just said
Wow,
he's about to
that's
start
That's
a
crazy.
streaming, like watching the Lakers and then like live tweeting about it. I'm just
That's
saying.
Start a show.
Hilarious.
I'm about that.
Yeah.
Praying for them tonight.
I like how he keeps his eyes closed.
I know my eyes are supposed to be open. My
I know.
bad.
I
See,
definitely.
doing a lot right now.
Okay.
All right.
So much to think about.
Next one. Who's most likely to have 1 million followers on Instagram? You know, be humble. Be humble with this.
However you
Bastards,
answer, like
bastards.
it's not like.
Only because of the reality show, though. That's the only reason.
Oh,
Oh, but he already gave away.
so I don't have to out myself. Poor perfect. I'll just
that balloon. He threw that to you. That's awesome.
I can't.
All right, so we
Fine,
clearly
it's
know.
fine. Okay.
So Keem has 2. Braylon, we only selected you for 1.
That's
okay.
fine.
It's okay.
I'm not interested.
All
Who's
right.
coming up next?
This is the next one for you then. Who is most likely to become a best-selling author?
Ooh.
Ooh. You know Kim gonna raise his hand for himself on
That's
this.
crazy. That's crazy. If I could do an audiobook, maybe. If I could just talk it out. I don't know if I have like
I don't want to
the.
say right either though.
I don't know, man.
I think we both have potential in this.
All right, so you're just gonna raise up both.
Yeah.
All right, I can't do both.
Aw,
But
I love
We're gonna write a book together.
that's right.
That's
so
okay.
he's the
There you
ghostwriter.
Young adult. Wow.
Or
That's what they're
I'm
saying.
gonna try it. Which
How
one's
to
cooler?
do young adult ministry.
Young adult ministry
yeah.
in 2020.
There you
How
go.
to-
All right, next
good.
one. Who is most likely to cancel plans?
Oh. That was fast. I didn't even think about She said when I said.
Did you put me up?
What? Yeah, look.
Did you put me up?
You really put me up?
Yeah.
I have
I'm
never
not the
said-
person that cancel plans. I'm the person that goes to plans and then
10 minutes,
leave
and then-
wow. But that's not canceling though.
Okay, all right.
That's
all
not
right.
canceling.
Have I ever canceled on you? We're about to get therapeutic.
So clearly there's a tie, and I'm the tiebreaker. I'm going with Braylon's answer
Oh, okay.
to say
okay.
that.
Wow,
was like,
that's
dang.
crazy.
But Sabrina knows.
Immediately when I said it, I said, that's Keem.
I didn't. Are you talking about the
Listen.
poet? That's crazy. But I didn't
Listen.
even cancel. I came into your house just to show you, like, man,
He
They were
tried.
sold out.
He tried. But he still,
sold out.
He still couldn't come.
just to show you
Still canceled.
how much I'm committed to plans.
It's all good.
just was-
It's all good. You know,
I'm
it's
hurt.
fun. It's
I'm
fun.
hurt.
I don't know.
All right,
The
here we go.
Enneagram 7.
Here's a few more.
Okay.
All right, this is a great one. I think you guys should try this. We should do this as like one off our
God.
Instagram story or something. All right, who's most likely to win a lip sync battle?
I gotta be honest. I can't even lie.
Wow, look.
I can't even lie.
You guys agreed.
I can't. It'll be close.
It would be close
job.
because we're both
Right?
like,
Let me get a little Hercules mulligan
yeah,
in
yeah.
there.
We get,
Ooh.
it would be a tie, honestly.
But her voice alone would probably
But if
steal
it
it.
was-
It says a lip sync battle.
That's
Now,
true.
we
you have
hosted
to
a
have
lip
the
sync battle once. That was fun.
lip sync battle. You have to
true.
have the whole performance. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, like there's choreography. I'm not so
All
good
of
at
that.
choreography piece.
yeah.
I
All
don't know.
right.
It'll be close.
All
If
right.
it's Mariah Carey, all I want for Christmas, I'm taking the
I
prize.
can't.
You know, like
I
it's fine.
can't.
Let's do this as the last one, okay, you guys, so we can move on and get engaged with some of our community
Do it.
All right.
out there. Okay. This one. Who is most likely to tell a bad joke when giving a speech? Who do you guys say? And you guys look.
Who did you have up? Yeah, Mia?
Yeah, myself up. Like I
did
did
you
you
wanna-
sending these jokes and then it don't work at the wrong time, so it's fine. It's fine.
But that's just your personality. Though,
That's
sis.
true.
I appreciate Braylon because she might make a bad joke, but she can laugh.
I'll laugh at it because I
She'll-
think it's
she'll
funny.
laugh by herself.
And then I'll
That is
ask you
true.
why you didn't laugh at it. That's
That
not
is
the truth.
true.
Awesome. All right. So that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks so much for engaging. You guys
Yeah.
you got to know Keem and Braylon a little bit more and how they see each other and and you
The
just got to see
nitty-gritty.
their quirks and the things that just make them who they are. So just want you to remember that yes, they are all about ministry, but yes, they are also humans and they love to have fun, right? All right. So let's get into the matter at hand.
Okay.
Let's just kind of jump in and just kind of talk about why are we doing this town hall meeting. Let's get serious a little bit and just, really focus on the purpose of it and just kind of share with us the importance of to host this right now in this season,
Yeah.
especially with so many things changing and all of that. Speaking to that, why are we hosting this town hall meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I think because everything has been so crazy, everything's been constantly shifting, and I know for at least for myself, it felt like there was nothing consistent or nothing that was remaining the same. But then as we sat down and we really talked about it, we're like, no, like we've been committed to these things, and we're going to continue to be committed to
Yeah.
these things, because we're the church and we're founded on Jesus and all that good stuff, and He's never changing, right? And so yeah, I think it's just a good reminder, like in this season, that even though everything is shifting, there are some core things that we're going to keep like solid in our community. So yeah.
I think on top of that, it's also extremely important that even when things are changing, like the season we're in now, but I think it's also just important and vital for, as leaders to come up here, right, and take moments to share vision, share mission, share values, share the heart of what is taking place as a community. Because sometimes, the truth is we forget, we'll have some really cool things planned and we'll move forward and a bunch of events and things taking place. And then maybe we'll forget why it is. So I think it's always important, and especially as, like I said, Bray kind of jumping on staff and speaking into a lot of this, even in a more influential way now. I just think it's always important to create moments where we get a chance to share, like I said, our mission, our vision, some values for this season and the season to come. So.
Yeah. Just to remind, I think and encourage people oh yeah, hey, what's up? Technical difficulties, we're out here. I think it's just to remind people of the truth and encourage people that hey, there are some things that are never going to change regardless of the things that are changing in the world.
Super
and one
important.
of them is community, church, all those things.
Yeah.
Well, while you guys are even talking, and now once again, I just want to remind you guys, now this is the time for you to ask these questions because we're going to get deeper. And even as Jakeem said, we really wanted to open it up so you guys, like we said, some of you are new, some of you are like, hey, what is YA about? I want to get involved a little bit more. I just want to find out where I fit, and you're trying to gauge that right now. So with that, I do want you to be reminded, the questions that you have, text them right now to our number in the chat. But Jakeem, kind of take us into, you mentioned it when you were talking about why we're doing this, and you said you want to kind of remind people of just the mission and the vision of YA. So take some time and share with us what is the mission for YA and what we're about.
Yeah, so our mission has been for the last couple of years now, and it's really for our entire Next Gen department, which we're a part of, but we've embraced that for young adults, has been simply this, is to reach and disciple a generation for us of young adults to live out their faith as followers of Jesus. That's been our mission that we've embraced for the last maybe 2 or 3 years now. And everything we do is out of that, right? Whether everything is normal in the middle of COVID season and in our next season moving forward, that is always our hope. That is always our mission. That's what we're aiming and striving to do. And then our vision is simply this, and I shared this at the beginning of this year. It's always funny when the pastor does the vision, the 2020, the vision for this year, 2020.
Right.
I think we all got it wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe not, because our vision was simply this, is that we would create a place or community where any and every young adult can belong and call home, right? So I would break it down as that our mission is to reach and disciple a generation of young adults to live out their faith in Jesus, and our mission for YA is to create a place where every young adult can call home. That they can belong and that they can call home.
Yeah. But okay, so let's kind of go into the reality, right? That things just look different. Our community isn't able to gather the way that we're used to, and so we've been trying to incorporate the YouTube, the Zooms, trying to do the small groups in a digital way. So the reality is we are still trying to figure out how to even engage and be a part of our community, even with the shifting and the changing in the times. So maybe, Braylon, can you share with us, how does that impact, maybe with the shifting and the changes that's happening, how does that impact our mission or just what we do from here on out with YA?
I think it changes the practicality piece of it, of how we do these 3 core things. So we sat around and we're what are the things that are never going to change and that we've been consistent with, and that we feel like God has called us to, and that we feel like we need to be obedient to as a community, as in ministry and all of these pieces. The things that we're committed to, and we're going to dive into each piece just as we go, but is we're committed to teaching. We're committed to community, and we're committed to serving. Those are the 3 things that we are passionate about, and we want to try and do well even in this season. It might look different. We might not be in the same room, we might not be in the same building, but we are gonna stream on Zoom, or we're gonna have community on, you know, in different ways. If it's on a hike, if it's outdoors, however we have to do community and however we have to serve in these different seasons, we're going to shift with that. But these core things will be at the root of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's good, because I think what you are highlighting and is important for all of us to know, and maybe you didn't know at home, but the reason we've continued to do what we do is because even with things changing, there's certain things that God has called us to that we're not going to stop doing, you know? And I think those are the things that create a level of consistency, a level of stability for us, that these are the things that no matter what it looks like, we're in the same room, not in the same room, online, on Zoom, on Instagram, whatever we can do. For us as a ministry, we're going to do we're going to do these things, and this is what God has called us to. And I think the three that you spoke to hit it right on the head, right?
Yeah.
We're going to try our best to do teaching as best as we can. We're going to focus on community and bringing people together the best that we can, and then we're going to create opportunities to serve others and one another. So. I love how you said that. That doesn't change, you know?
Yeah.
So can you guys do me a favor? Because for some people, I believe they might be asking the question of, okay, like, but where do I fit? And so maybe can you guys elaborate a little bit more? What do these 3 areas maybe look like for those that are in our community? And, how are you guys shaping it right now? And how are we deciding to shape this for us in those 3 areas? Kind of get a little bit more deeper into what that looks like maybe for our community moving forward.
Yeah, so I mean, I think like this part of why we wanted to have this, because we wanted you guys to know what to expect, like what we are working towards providing or facilitating as we go along, even in, like I said, the midst of uncertainty, and going forward, like as a whole, like just for you to know where we're at and where we're going. And so when we say teaching, like our goal is to bring obviously like the truth of the Word of God, of like what it says in a way that's life breathing, in a way that's honest, in a way that's authentic, in a way that's to be frank, is going to challenge us. Like we are challenging each other. We have a teaching team that meets every Monday, and we like tear each other apart sometimes, in just so we can be better for you guys, and I cry sometimes, but it's fine because no, I'm the biggest baby in the whole group, but
you're the one that makes people cry.
I make people cry. It's weird. It's 2 coins. Pray for me. It's hard. It's a hard life. But no, I mean, we're challenging one another so that we can also challenge each other for us to look more like Jesus ultimately. And the goal is to hopefully provoke like further conversation and further like kind of incite creative ideas around the Bible and what that should look like in our everyday life. Not just, hey, they said these really cool, nice words like on a stage, but like, what do I do with this when I go home? Like, how do I unpack this in my everyday life? I don't know, Keem, is there anything that...
And so I think those are some of the things that we have added intentionality to. We've been teaching for a long time, and not that some of these elements weren't there, but some of the things that we've said in this next season, it's super important that if we're going to get up on a stage or record a message, what is the most important thing? And I think some of the most important things is making sure that we're challenging, like that it's not just
fluffy or
sometimes. I've, just being honest and transparent, sometimes I've come up and, talked a whole lot of like Sunday school and given a whole lot of Bible, but we've said, hey, how do we be super intentional about making sure application is, at least for this community, the most important? There's other messages where we can, there's spaces and small groups and other things we can maybe dive into deeper Bible things and maybe learn some of the nuances. But what are the things that's like, hey, if you get this from messages, if you get this from the teaching that we're doing, like your life's gonna look better.
Right.
Your life's gonna represent Jesus better. So those are some things that's been super important that we're saying, hey, it's happened in the past, but we're going to be super intentional. You mentioned it, the YA teaching team. One of the things that I felt on my heart, maybe, I can't believe it, I think it's been 8 weeks already?
More, it feels like it's been a while.
Wow, that's so wild. I feel like we just kind of put that team together. But one of the reasons the Lord put that on my heart is because I felt the value was creating diversity in the voices. I think I do okay communicating. I get ripped apart on Mondays too, but I think I do okay. But despite that, there are so many other voices in our community that their experiences, their testimony, and even their approach to the Bible, these two up here, Tabrina and Braylon, of course, jumping on staff and things like that. But there's others, Rio and Nate, that are part of the community that have different experience testimonies. That let's bring these voices in, because I think that creates speaks to that challenge side, where we're able to speak to things that maybe resonate more with you or some of you than maybe my story or. So I think that's something that's super important that we've been really focusing on, and you guys have been seeing that. Our last series, I think I taught 3 times, maybe, and that's really been a value for us moving forward. That's going to, continue to, as we live out this vision that's changing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, can you guys speak into that community piece? What is that? What are some things maybe we've implemented, or you guys are seeing the changes? And let me kind of, I think I can add this question into it, because it kind of ties in. This question says, how did your idea of ministry grow or change during this COVID? So as you guys are talking about kind of the community pieces, there's different things that had to change with COVID. So with our community, if you can kind of tie that in together.
Yeah. Ask the question for me again. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this question asks, how did your idea of ministry grow or change, if it did, during COVID? And tie that in with the community of YA and what we do for our community and why it's important.
Yeah. So I think it might be good for us to even separate it, and because my idea of ministry has changed, and I think it kind of ties into community, but I think it's even larger than that. One, I would want some time to think on that question, but that's a really good question.
It's a really great question.
Yeah.
That is a great question. Wherever you are. Nailed it.
Yeah. Maybe we can do the questions at the end?
Okay.
And
After we present
yeah,
the community piece.
yeah.
of it.
Let's just only because I think the values that you brought up, I don't want to get lost by going over. I think the
Yeah.
values
Okay.
that you brought up when it comes to teaching, community, serving are really important. But we were starting to talk about community.
Yeah.
That's a great
So-
question over asked. We're going to come back to that. That's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's a great question.
It definitely does tie
But-
into the community piece, but like we want to identify community first and then come back around, because we've
Yeah.
had to shift some of these ideas practically to really
adjust.
to adjust in this season.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a valid question. But like one of the things we're committed to in community is really just creating safe places for people to engage in healthy conversation around the Word of God, and just to live authentically, like together, to have honest conversations around what it means to be human, to be a person that has feelings, to experience hurt and pain and discomfort and uncertainty, right? We are committed to cultivating like spaces to do that. So we've got like our Zoom groups going after our Thursday night service, right? We've got our small groups. If you're on a small group, our goal is to create safe spaces for there to be healthy conversation around what the Bible says and how we're supposed to respond to it. And so, I don't know if there's more, but I
think you touched on it. Community work, like I said, being a value for us. Some of the ways we've done it in the past, we're just building on. So you'll see the reasons we do events, as much as we love, hanging out and being with everybody. Well, I guess that is community as well. But the reason we do that is so that we can foster that we know that you're not meant to do life alone, right?
Yeah.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the message I preach the most is community. And that's because it's true, as much as so many different other things we can touch on, like we weren't meant to do life alone.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes says we go further together. So I think you touched on some of the ones that we are like strongly emphasizing. Right now in this season, it's hopping on Zoom after service or jumping into one of I think we got 4 or 5 small groups going right now. But I think it's more than just this season, right? Because the thing that's important about vision is also reminding us that even though the season changes, like the vision or those values don't change, our mission doesn't change. And then when we return back to, one another, there's a challenge to say, hey, I know it's been out of sight, out of mind, but community is a value for us. It's important for us. So it's this challenge or this push to say, return, right? Come back, jump into small groups. When the moment we're allowed to do watch parties, join watch parties. Don't wait, don't hesitate. The moment we're allowed to do in-person small groups, don't wait, don't hesitate, do it, right? When we do, hey, we're gonna do social distance hikes, don't wait, just jump in, right? That community is something that not just us as leaders are committing to, but it's a challenge for us as young adults, our community, to say, hey, this is gonna be something that's important for us, that we're going to do life together. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think another key thing is that it doesn't stop. I
Yeah.
think right now people have been in such a space where it's like, all right, well, we're not meeting, so
Yeah.
I'm
So
out.
bye
Like you
church,
almost
bye
preached where you said the
community.
checking out kind of
Yeah.
a thing. And so it's like community is still going on, but how do you even still stay engaged and a
Yeah.
part of it, even with the changes? So,
Yeah.
I mean, what you said, even when we get back
Yeah.
together, we're still doing community. Everything about our
Yeah.
vision and our mission of what YA is, we're still carrying it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hasn't changed.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, even though it's,
It looks different.
It looks different.
but it's the same goal, same
Yeah.
values, same purpose. It's, to,
and I think if there was a message, if I had to share, is we have to be committed to it, regardless of what the season looks like.
Yeah.
Right? That we said, hey, in this community, right, our mission is creating a place where everybody can belong and where everybody can find home, and community is going to be a value for us. Is that we commit to it regardless of the season, not just when it's easy. Dude, I'm an absolute 7 on the Enneagram, extrovert, love to be out and about. Y'all don't understand. I be over screens.
yeah.
But I recognize the 20, 30 people that are on Zoom after service. I've committed to doing life with them, right? I've committed
Yeah.
to
That's
being
good.
in community with
I like
them.
that
And I think
word.
all of us need to
Yeah.
get to that place where we're saying we're committing to community.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think something that's really important about community as well is like in this season that, I mean, going back to kind of that question, like how that's like reshaped, right, in this season. Part of it is honestly like getting FaceTime with people I might not have gotten FaceTime with. Like when you're in a room on a Thursday night, like you get to choose what circles you sit in. You get to walk in a Zoom group. There's no choosing. Like
Yeah.
everybody's on the same thing. We all of our faces are on there.
Yeah.
And if you're not muted, we saw you. Like we see you big, right? And so like I think what it's challenged me in this season, and something that I think that we value in community altogether, is like a diverse group of people speaking now into my life
Yeah.
journey, right? Like so people that I might not have had a conversation with, or I wouldn't have gotten to know if we weren't in a Zoom group. I might have maybe like I was caught doing something else on a Thursday, right? But now like I'm having opportunity to have totally
Yep.
different people
Yep.
in my space
Yeah.
in a totally different way.
Yeah.
So I think that's another value that that's important. An important piece of community is not just that we encourage each other, we build each other up, and we create spaces and all of that, but it's also like diversity, like needing different voices in our life, because my story is not Sabrina's story,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Jakeem's not my story. Like we all have different stories, and all of our stories are important. And the more that we do life together, the more we can understand each other and understand others all together.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Before we move on, I think there's also
Yeah.
one more thing that's not less important, but a little bit more less harder, but I think we can all agree. The truth is, man, life after high school, you got to find moments to have fun. And
Yeah.
that happens in community, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You need people to laugh with. You need people to, do things with.
Yeah.
And, the truth is, for some of us, I know maybe you have large friend groups, but maybe not everybody does. But we've
Yeah.
said we're committed to creating a space where everybody belongs, right? So, and people need people to do life with, right? So, I think some of that just for the simple, man, to laugh together, to make memories together,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do things that, hey, I wouldn't have done that,
Yeah.
but I'm glad I did it, today. And there was a
Yeah.
memory made. I think that's also just as important as our life being challenged by people's testimonies.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for
So
sure.
good.
All those pieces I think are really like
I love it.
valuable.
All right. Well, let's jump into that last piece when you were talking about. So we discussed some of the teaching elements, what that looks like, the vision of what we're trying to carry and establish with our community right now and just in the future. We talked about community, kind of the values and what that looks like. Let's go into that third piece where you guys talked about serving.
Okay.
What does serving look like right now with our community in this time, and then maybe in the future, cast some vision into that?
Okay.
Want me to go first?
Want me to dive in? Okay, that's up to you.
No, I'll go. I think serving is like twofold, right? So it starts with us. It starts with our team. It starts with with people who are saying yes to what God has called them to in this season. For me and Jakeem, it's this. It's serving you guys. We're committed first and foremost to serving you. That looks like encouragement. That looks like counsel. That looks like prayer. That looks like sitting in a room and putting something together so that hopefully that you're being fed through some of these messages that we're doing, or you feel like Jakeem said, that you have a space to be in.
Yeah.
And feel at home in. And so we are first and foremost committed to you in that way, to serving you and serving our community, our team as a whole, to Brina, all our small group leaders. We are here first and foremost to serve you and encourage you, and just like you said, to do life together. You know, so I think that's twofold. If you want to talk about the other half.
No, well, before. Well, okay. I'll talk about that.
Okay.
Well, because I wanted to dive in on that because I think it was really good. I think you touched on it though. I think there is this commitment to, we are trying to embody and live out this, before we asking you to serve even one another, is that we're committed to serving you. And I think that's why you guys here, and I would even challenge you, for sometimes maybe it feels awkward. I know Braylon said it, or Jakeem said it when they're teaching, like, hit us up, have coffee, and these things. Maybe it may not happen that week, but like some of us we're challenging, like, we really want you to reach out. Like, I don't say it just to sound good. I think the truth is I want to meet people at Combine. I want to have conversations, I want to have coffee, and what was that?
But for real,
I think as we're committed to serving you, I think the challenge for you is to, or for those.
Are you willing to accept that service?
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
are you taking the challenge of like, hey, we're offering like our service to you as brothers and sisters in Christ is like a community. Like, are you willing to like respond to that and take the risk of like, it might be awkward, we're awkward, but we're gonna do our best to make you feel comfortable, make you feel at home, and like you said, it might not happen like tomorrow, but we will definitely do our best to get you like to sit with you and talk to you. We really do want to get to know you and really engage with our community. That's important, especially in these times, dude. It's crazy.
So just want to highlight that because I know we both say that, and I think it's super important. The other side is, like I mentioned, is as Bray was saying, on the other side of that coin, I think a mission and a value for us is two things. It's serving one another and serving others. And I think that is something that is super important and a value for us at YA. And those look maybe in different spaces, right? So here's what will happen. We're going to continue to challenge for when it comes to serving one another. What does that look like to host a small group, right? What does that look like to provide hospitality for somebody? What does that look like to jump on one of our YA teams? That's something you're going to hear, right? And we're looking and forming, and even in this season where it looks a little different, and other people have had to step up because, like other ministries maybe aren't as prevalent right now. So for example, like Welcome Home, because we're not in person, it's a little bit harder, and they're finding ways, and they're still praying for our community. But small group leaders have had to step up because they're the ones kind of holding it. So there may be seasons where it changes, but we're always going to be this challenge of asking our community to serve one another, right? And then we're going to challenge everybody that our call is to serve others. God calls us to serve others. So whether that is locally, like CityLink, or different maybe like local activities or outreaches that we'll do, or whether that's, getting in a car and going across the border to serve in Mexico, or when, the world opens up again, getting on planes and going overseas. Those challenges are constantly going to be there because we believe it's a value, not just because we want you to do it, but we believe our life gets better. We believe Jesus called us to it, and Jesus has a way, man. I know in my experiences, it's in the moments of serving others that I probably get the most goosebumps, that I get the most moments where I'm just like, I've heard this great message, I've heard this person teach, but it's a moment where I'm like overseas and watching this lady share her testimony, and I'm like, God, have your way with me. I am a sinner falling before thee. It is those moments, and we know those moments are important, that our lives are shaped by those. And the truth is, we're going to continue to challenge, our community to do the same, because not just we just want you signing up for trips, but we know life is changed in serving one another. So
and I just kind of want to speak to that in because I know some of that is like we can't do some of that, or we feel like we can't do some of that, but there are, or even if those of you who are like strictly social distancing, like you can't leave your house, like technology is so available to us. Like you can somebody sent me during my, like when I graduated this year, I got the most adorable gift cards, like via like text message. You can get them now. Like somebody sent me like, Starbucks or whatever. Like there are so many, maybe you don't have like the money to buy somebody a Starbucks, but
Write
I
somebody
know
a
I
letter.
didn't.
Yep.
I know I didn't.
Yeah.
So I started to write people letters and encouragement.
Yeah.
And that costs you maybe 50 cents, maybe 25 cents. If you need 25 cents, hit me up. like it's hard. I know, but
I could just send a text message.
yeah, or even that.
Email.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's
Yeah.
like it just takes a little bit to encourage somebody to let them know that Jesus loves them and that you're
Yeah.
here for them.
And that's the challenge, man. I think about, and I love it because I don't want to speak that it's not happening. I love it because I think our community does it,
Yeah.
right? From the things that we put out and ask people to participate, but even from just people like locally. Like I think of somebody like Byron. He sends me a devotional like a couple times a
Byron,
week.
you're a real one,
Like,
man.
They
and,
come
and those are
right
things,
on time.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Timely words.
Right. And those are things that we'll challenge by creating spaces, but we're also going to invite you to, what is God doing with you? Maybe He isn't asking you to, join a YA team necessarily yet, but He is calling you to serve. What does
Yeah.
that look like?
Yeah,
right?
what does that look like for you today?
Buying the person behind you in the fast food line, their food for
Some
them,
chicken
right?
nuggets,
Or purchase somebody's their grocery. Like, what does that look like? And we're going to challenge each other to live in that we're serving the community
Yeah.
around us. So,
Yeah.
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 It's great. I mean, you guys really, I think, cast the vision and just kind of spoke well into the space of where we are. But I do want to remind people that your voice is valuable in our community. And I think that's one of the key takeaways we want to remind you is that the reason why we even set it up for you to send in questions is because we want you to know that, yes, we are called to serve each other, but we also want to hear from you to see how we can even serve you. And remembering that ministry isn't about consumption, but it's about contributing, and it's about working together
Yeah.
and going towards a shared goal, shared mission, vision, all that. So let's kind of jump into some of these questions now
Okay.
I'm
that
nervous.
everyone has. Okay,
Here we
I've been trying to keep up. There has been some really good ones,
Okay.
but let's see. This one actually.
Well, let's not forget the one from earlier.
Okay, you guys want
I
to?
feel like we kind of answered it, but you can
You
go ahead
guys
and
did,
answer
but
Okay.
you can give us your insight
us
on
your
that because
insight.
Bray did tie it in a little
Tie it
bit.
in,
But
okay.
how has
Um,
ministry either changed or grown or is
Yeah.
different
Your
during COVID for
perspective
you?
during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what it has changed for me is, and this is just being open and transparent, is kind of putting a conviction on my heart for our community. Really, that word commitment, right, and challenge. I think that we've been framed up. We were talking about like what does the future look like, and the word that was coming to us is challenge, because I think there's certain things that has been laid out for us and they've been really well, but in this season it showed, right, the importance of commitment, right, and we have to figure out as leaders and us as a community, what does it look like to move from a place as a community that we're choosing to be committed, and that's something that I feel like may have changed, where when it was easy and laid up or like made out, it was kind of, okay, we can do this. And it didn't maybe take too much risk, too much challenge, maybe a night out of the week. I enjoyed it, it was okay. But what does it look like when I need to be committed and it doesn't look or feel like I wanted to? So that's one thing that is kind of pressed on. And then the other is, what I've learned is that God is a provider. If I've learned one thing in this season is God is a provider. And when we say these things, that He's not confined to four walls or a building.
Yeah.
But in moments like this, and you watch Him show up, you watch Him create avenues, you watch people rise up and take ownership and buy in, and you watch the church as a whole come together. You guys don't even see, but like Brinson and Sabrina are behind the camera right now. You
Killing
watch
the
people
game.
come together and
Killing
say,
the game.
how do we continue to reach people? Like, it's not really a change in perspective, but it's one of those things where, man, when God shows you who He is, we say these things, but when He shows you who He is, you just kind of go, man, it may not be how I want it, but God is doing some things.
I feel like it's like at the end of Endgame when all the Avengers rally to like it's like what COVID-19, the church was like
On your left.
exactly. You got Black Widow over here. You got, that's how I mean, for real though. Like
Yeah.
I serve on the worship team. I serve here with YA, and pre-staff and everything too, you know, like, and I'm like, dang, this is like straight up Avengers status with the bit, like, if you guys could see like all the things that are around us right now, it's crazy that there are people who are not just wired to like talk in front of people. Some people have really cool gifts where they like can do all of this and they know a microphone's not working. They're just like, they know all the ins and outs that I wouldn't be able to do if they, you know, for my life depended on it, you know.
Mission's still the same. Let's get them.
Let's get them. Yeah.
That's so good. Well, okay, I know we gotta kind of wrap up a little bit, but I just want to ask a couple of things, just tying in your guys' personal stories of just how has young adult ministry impacted your lives, maybe personally, because that's something that someone wanted to know. Just what is your own personal story? This one actually asked when you guys got baptized and all that, but I want to tie it in maybe just with your story, maybe how has young adult ministry impacted it and the things that you do?
For sure. So I'll try to keep it brief just so we can have time to knock out as many probably to the top of the hour. So it's about 12, 15 minutes. Briefly for me, it has, given me a place to live out my calling as well as make mistakes and grow. It's given me the opportunity to become a better teacher, become a better pastor, become a better friend. So those are some of the impacts that YA has had on me. It's given me people to do life with. And like I said, that this living out calling, I do believe, God has called me to this. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, or if I didn't believe that. But that's probably some of the quick impact that I feel like YA has had on me, as well as connecting with people that I'm probably going to be doing ministry with for many seasons, if not a full life to come. So.
Yeah. What about you, Bray?
Yeah, some of you guys know my story, but my story starts here at Young Adults. Like, I didn't know, that this was something I could be called to. I didn't know that this was an option, like, altogether. And it literally, it started by serving people. I would come to Laurel Woods and I would show up, and sometimes the people at Laurel Woods weren't even there, and we'd be like, cool, we came all the way out here, and then we'd go back home. It was crazy. And then I don't know, God just opened doors, and I really start to see myself like, oh, I think this is what I'm wired for. I think I'm supposed to be doing these things. This guy literally all but enrolled me in Life Pacific University, and if it wasn't for this guy calling, I don't think I would have gone to school. But I mean, the community aspect, I think, is the most important piece, where I didn't know, to be honest, very like transparent, I didn't know what I was called for, and I had to sit in community, and people had to be like, hey, I think you're wired for this thing. You probably need to go back to school. You probably need to figure this out. And it started here in this community. So like, I will forever treasure my young adult experience.
And I mean, I'll just kind of piggyback. I know for me, my own personal story, YA ministry, I came I've been in part of the community for about 4 years now. But when I first got in, I was first introduced to you, and immediately Bray was just like, hey, just jump in and get involved. And then at that time, you guys were just starting a small group. And I was like, you know what? Hey, let's figure it out. And from my background of the church and the experiences that I've had, it's totally different. It's different people, different cultures, different experiences, and it's all mixed into one. And so, it's kind of like you got to take that risk, right? You're just like, I don't know, are they going to receive me or whatever? And so immediately after I came into you guys a small group and met so many amazing people, I mean, to this day, it's people you can just text and send an encouraging word to. And I think for me, just jumping in and just saying, you know what, hey, small groups matter, this matters, and now I'm serving. So I think understanding why God forms relationships and new spaces and new environments, it's important. So
so good.
All right, well, let me go into this question. Someone asked, you guys did the racial reconciliation panel recently, and they're thankful for that. What are your thoughts, maybe just even moving forward in this area? What are your plans and your thoughts for this moving forward?
So myself and Pastor Marcus, our Next Gen director, Pastor Victoria, who's over ASM, and a few other pastors on staff. I don't know who's all aware of Pastor Chuck and Jeremiah. We've actually been meeting the last couple of weeks and have been really diving into this conversation. One of my favorite blessings, not only just Braylon being on staff, is that she's created some capacity for me to touch on other things, and that's been one that's been a huge priority. From how continuing the conversation as a church, and not just in young adult Next Gen, but in the life of the church. It's been a privilege and an opportunity to speak into some of those things and really creating curriculum around some of those, and really just dialogue, right? The conversation piece. There's people asking questions like, I wasn't aware, I'm not sure, I didn't know. And being able to facilitate and have the opportunity to lead some of that discussion has been good. So we've been in conversation with other churches about what they do, allowing them to coach us. And our hope is probably later this year, early next year, to really start having some things on the ground. And making some moves, and at the very least keeping the conversation going. So that's something that's taking place for me. It's not really YA specific, but it's church-wide specific. So there will be opportunities for YA when that comes.
I mean, I think it is important for them to know. Like, we also, as a Next Gen team specifically, are diving into the conversation further.
True. Facts.
Like we sit around every week for the past 3 weeks, and we've been dialoguing around reconciliation. And I think what's really cool about our team as a whole is that we've all come to this place where hey, we don't know it, we don't got it. We are wrestling through this together authentically, really asking each other the hard questions. And something that we talked about just even this last week was true proximity, and I thought that was really good. We talked about that, and really just really diving more into what does it look like for me really to dive into diverse areas or into diverse communities where I wouldn't normally be, and instead of just being in the same room or going to the same church, but really trying to engage and really dive into it instead of just talking about it. So the conversation's continuing. Our specific Next Gen team is having consistent conversation around it.
I can't believe I forgot that. We actually,
it's okay.
We're currently going through a book right now. She's right. We talk
Road.
every Tuesday for about an hour. We're going through a book by Brenda Salter McNeil called Roadmap to Reconciliation. So if you want it, cop that book. But our Next Gen team is diving into it. I've been privileged to lead some conversations as a church as a whole. So the conversation's not dying. We're not letting it go.
Yeah. Because it's too important to our community. We are a diverse community anyway, so it's just, that's why we love to hear from you. You are the voice of our community, and so we always want to find ways to stay engaged and connected with real life stuff, right? Yeah. All right, let's go into this question. There was a couple, it was about 2 or 3 of them kind of wrapped around the same theme. It's either, what are some specific ways that some people are just wanting to jump in and get in? What ways would you guys advise them to maybe just start? And maybe what are some other YA resources that they can either stay connected beyond just social media?
Mass will social right now. We are social distance. If there were any questions around that, we will do our best to empower you to do what it is you feel called to, or find a space for you to do that, even in the midst of all of this that's going on. I don't really have much more to add. I think that's it. I think the first start is jump on Zoom. Just let's learn together, grow together, talk together. And then you'll be surprised at the relationships that grow from that. Man, some of our small group leaders, started from these conversations on Zoom. I think of Jillian and Danny, that it started in these spaces, and now they have created opportunities where the diving deeper has almost started authentically. And it started, on Zoom small groups, right? Creating those conversations in those spaces. So that would be our first start. And then once you come on Zoom, we'll give you some more guidance into other spaces. How about a few more?
All right. So let's see. I'm sorry, I got pulled because there was a few people like, oh, wait, what's going on? Okay, so we're back, right? We're connected, we're live. Okay, awesome. This one wanted to know, thank you guys for still staying engaged with us. We appreciate it, and we hope that this is presenting some clarity for you, and it's helping you. This question wanted to know, what is a good strategy? This is just, there's another fun one, but this one is not so much tied into everything we shared, but someone wants to know what is a good strategy for them to get comfortable with sharing the gospel. And you guys are pastors. Maybe what's some things that you guys implement in this season when you're ministering to people or encouraging people to find Jesus or, see who he is in this time. So what are some strategies that you guys implement?
So I don't think it's cliche. I think it's actually the opposite of cliche. I think the first strategy for sharing the gospel is making sure your life is doing so. That's where I would start. I think it's a quote by St. Francis that says, preach the gospel at all times and when necessary, use words. But then moving on, when getting more specific, if people are asking questions or maybe there's family and others that need to know, I think it's one, using boldness to share the story and the testimony, remembering where you came from, remembering what your life was before Jesus, and then sharing the testimony. You can bring the word and scriptures and Bible and stuff in there, but your testimony goes so far. It's honestly the testimony that when I think about, my life and Bible college and stuff come and all those other things, but it was really remembering who I was in the past and like remembering when Jesus came in and I'm like, dude, what in the world? It's like a full 180. And I'm not saying I got it all together, but I remember how broken and disastrous and chaotic it was and what he's done. So sharing that message with people, and then, you get a little scripture, little verses in you share those as well. But that's what I would share.
Yeah, and I was going to say the same thing. Like, I think we underestimate the power of our story. Like, really, like, our redemption story could really be the turning point for somebody. I think sometimes for me as well, even though I'm pretty extroverted, even though I'm like went to school to be a pastor and all that, like I still am intimidated by the idea of like evangelism. But something that I think I've learned like over the years is that you trust that Holy Spirit lives inside of you and that he's going to prompt you and then he's going to give you the discernment when necessary. And if he's living inside of you, you don't have to have all the right things to say and all the quote unquote fancy like scriptures. Like he's going to speak through you because you're a child of God and he lives inside of you. And so I think that's like a really huge important piece that I've learned over the years. Like, because sometimes I'm like, should I just run up to people and be like, Jesus loves you, like, no, I mean, that works, but probably not, but there have been moments where I'm at the supermarket and God's like, all of a sudden I feel prompted. I'm like, I don't feel this usually. Check myself. And then I'm like, hey, I don't know if you need to know this, but God loves you. Something simple. Yeah. It's something so simple and could really shift that. And so just remembering that Holy Spirit lives inside of you and he does almost all the hard work. Yeah.
I love that. All right. This is a fun question. Someone wants to know, Jakeem, how many hats do you own?
This is real theological, so get your commentary.
It would be great if you could guess who it's from, but we'll save that for later. But yeah.
A good amount. I wear probably, I think there's 4 that I wear pretty consistently on rotation, but I have a bunch. How many Vans I have too? I know that's another good question. Yeah, so I have like 4 on rotation that I love the most.
I love
my
that.
Dodger hat. I pray they're winning tonight.
I didn't know you were a Dodger fan.
Big Dodger fan.
Okay.
Come on, and we're balling this year.
I wouldn't know. I know zero about sports.
That's okay.
No, but that was good. So once again, thank you guys for taking time out to listen in with this conversation. Those are most of the questions that you guys had. Just remember, this number is available for you guys to use. Anytime that you are at home and an idea pops up or something is just pressing on your heart, please use this number, text it to us. It comes directly to our phones and someone would be there to actually answer you. So this number is accessible for you. So for that individual that asks for resources, that's a resource that you can even stay connected and engaged as well.
Also, you can DM us on IG. I
There we
think
go.
that's important for us to say, and maybe you've never felt the okay or the confidence behind it, but our staff and our team, it's a few of us that are, and even some of our high capacity, like core volunteer leaders, we're watching that. So when you DM us on Instagram, we're there. Like I said, I think Braylon said, we're committed to serving our community and one another, and some of it starts there. So you got questions, right? How to share the gospel in faith, and you can't wait to the next town hall meeting to ask. DM us, hit us on Zingle. So those are spaces you can reach out, and we would, like I said, love to connect. So
Yeah. And are there any lasting thoughts that you guys want to kind of wrap up and share with everyone, just as
for
we
me,
are preparing to
want you
sign
guys to know
out?
I love you guys, man.
Yeah.
I love you guys so much, and I just count it as a privilege and honor, man, to be your guys' pastor and to work with serve alongside my best friends, and to do God's mission. So love you guys, and hope you guys have been provoked or challenged from this time.
We love you.
I thought you were going to leave it with something. No, nothing.
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I saw something that touch a button. I was like, she could have used that in. I was like, woo! No, let me get it out while I can.
Real quick, we won't be having Zoom tonight. I know there's a lot of you guys watching on Zoom right now. We're going to hop on for a few minutes, but we won't be having Zoom conversations tonight. For those that are just kind of tuning in on YouTube, love you guys. Starting a brand new series next week. So we'll see you then. And until then.
Text us. We love you.
Good night, Los
Good night,
Angeles.
good
No, I'm just kidding.
night. Rancho Cucamonga. It just doesn't roll out.
Yeah.
It doesn't roll out.
All those things.
No, but for real, we love you guys. Thanks for